Pro Football Today, hour number 3, getting closer to kickoff here. Whoa.
Back on Pro Football. Back on Pro Football Today, Donnie Rightside, Joe Lisi, taking you in.
It's absolutely.
Hour number 3. Off with a bang, Donnie.
I mean, come on, man. They're setting me up in the back. It's supposed to be sensational stuff. Well, he's Joe Lisi. I'm Donnie Rightside. An hour from kickoff. Let's get after it here. Because you know what, Joe? We got an NFL insider we got to get to. It's Adam Caplan here. Welcome in, Adam Caplan. We got a lot of things going across the NFL today. How you feeling?
Boys, good to be with you. Yeah, look, we've got some games in Week 9, no question about it. And the backdrop is this week's Tuesday trade deadline, which is big. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern. And what's fascinating, guys, about this one is there's so many teams alive for a playoff spot. Believe this or not, I know some people find it hard to believe, but some teams, whether they trade or stay pat, will go down to what happens this weekend.
It's interesting to see it form out because Tuesday, typically, again, I always bring this up, Cap, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, nobody was making trades for anybody at this point, but now we're hearing from different teams on who actually wants to buy in, who's looking to add on. So, Cap, I'll put you right on it. What are you hearing about some of these teams that are looking to add and maybe subtract by Tuesday's deadline?
Yeah, Donnie, when I put my list together, just talking to people around the league, it's fascinating, first of all. The Cardinals, who have been bad for years, right, that no one's expecting anything from this team, they're the number 4 seed right now in the NFC. They're technically in first place in the NFC West. And the word around the team is they got to do something to get a pass rusher. They addressed their cornerback position in the draft with Max Melton, but they just need pass rushers. Dennis Gardeck, one of the better pass rushers, is out for the season due to a major knee injury. So they're in the market for a pass rusher. The Chiefs, believe it or not, yes, they got DeAndre Hopkins recently, Donnie, but they're still looking for receiver help. They only have 4 healthy receivers right now. So that's a team that still could get a cheaper option. They're not looking to do anything big like at least the big name like Hopkins. The Commanders, they're fishing around for receivers and corners, although it's highly unlikely. I would say not. I mean, I don't say 100% it won't happen, but the Commanders have looked into. I've heard they've looked into J.C. Horn, who's one of the best young corners in the NFL with the Panthers, but the Panthers they're in a position where they need draft capital, they need to build, but you can't trade your best players. So I don't see that happening. But I do want to mention that they have looked into the cornerback position, the Commanders, and this is another team, guys. This has really been the story of this trade deadline. Teams that we didn't think would have a chance are in it, and in it big time. And the Commanders also, they're not very good at receiver. They need to help out Terry McLaurin. But the big thing is cornerback for them. The Falcons with Matthew Judon, it hasn't happened yet. They're still looking for edge rushers. The Lions, they're still this one's obvious. They're looking to help out with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. And then the Steelers, I reported this a couple weeks ago. They've tried to get Mike Williams from the Jets. The Jets haven't been willing to trade him yet. Now the Jets are 3-6. They're still a game and a half or so out of the last wild card spot. Do they really need Mike Williams? Alan Lazard, who got off to a great start on injured reserve. One thing I would tell you about Mike Williams, the Jets actually were going to, the Steelers were going to bring him on a free agent visit, but he had already signed with the Jets, so that's a name to keep an eye on. And then, look, the other thing is their teams are out of it. The Giants could be selling. They could be moving Azeez Ojulari, who makes sense. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. There are a lot of teams that like him. Zadarius Smith, the Browns edge rusher, he's up there in age, good football player, pretty productive. You could play him inside and nickel as a tackle. You could play him on the outside in base. And then Jadeveon Clowney, look, where are the Panthers going, guys? Clowney is a guy that the Panthers, as I understand it, would be willing to move for the right deal. So there are some players on a lot of teams that are looking to get involved.
Cap, I want to turn our attention to the Sunday night game and get your take on what you're hearing about the Anthony Richardson situation.
Yeah.
We've got into a healthy discussion about how it played out, what ownership or the coaching staff, some of the players like Michael Pittman said they found out on social media. Quentin Nelson comes out and says that, he supports AR. Do you believe that Anthony Richardson will be, in fact, under center at the end of the regular season at some point? And what are you hearing on how this situation played out over the week?
All right, Joe, no. Unless Joe Flacco, the only way that Richardson will play is A, if Joe Flacco gets hurt, or B, Flacco throws like 8 interceptions over 3 games. It's clearly the reason why they're losing. They have no plans to go back to Richardson. they're trying to make the playoffs. You saw what Joe Flacco did, putting the Browns on his back. An incredible run, almost, not quite, as good as his 2012 run with one of the best in playoff history with the Ravens. But they want stability at that quarterback position for now. Now, Shane Steichen, their head coach, denied that Richardson asking out for one play and in a crucial time had anything to do with his benching. What I will tell you is Richardson had been playing poorly. He has not played good football since very early last season when he got off to that great start, Joe, before that major shoulder injury, which resulted in a major surgery. But no, they're going to go with Flacco. They're trying to win. But it just goes to the situation. They haven't gotten it right since Andrew Luck retired. Now, the Colts won't say it, but I'm telling you, they like him to be the starter next season, but they're not willing to go there. Yes, he's under contract for 2 more years past this one, but they want to get through this season first and see what they can do. But it's really wild, man. This is not something they anticipated, but clearly Richardson has not been the same quarterback, Joe, since that right shoulder surgery.
It's definitely a win now, Cap, no doubt about it. I know you're always plugged into the NFC East, and usually we talk a lot of Philadelphia Eagles, but my goodness, the Dallas Cowboys, a team in turmoil right now. We don't know if Mike McCarthy's going to survive at the end of the season and be brought back. The team is playing listless football, and now Ezekiel Elliott was brought in the offseason to try to help bolster that running game. He's inactive today due to disciplinary reasons, Adam. What's going on in Dallas?
Yeah, that's not good. He's not even on the flight from Dallas to Atlanta. That's bad. So, look, they haven't been able to run the football. Donnie, this was a major mistake, by the way, when it comes to Jerry Jones, the owner general manager, who is personnel control. They were not going to spend money at running back, okay? So they brought in Dalvin Cook late, who's going to play today. He'll be the number 2 running back behind Rico Dowdle. You didn't have to invest $10 million. There are plenty of backs out there that they could have signed. They declined to really bring in anyone of note. They didn't make a trade for Miles Sanders, which they thought was too exorbitant. He's $6 million, which is fully guaranteed. So it's been a problem. They can't run the ball effectively. They're one of the worst run games in the National Football League. They've got all sorts of injury problems. Trayvon Diggs is dressing today. Understand something. He's got a calf injury. Donnie, he didn't even practice this week. Yeah. But they're so limited at the cornerback position. They're in trouble today. I'd be very surprised if they were able to win in Atlanta. Now, let's see how Atlanta handles success. The Bucs have all sorts of problems at receiver with injury. So they've got problems when they go into Kansas City tomorrow night. But getting back to the Cowboys, look, they're surprised. They were not expecting to be 3-4. They're down 3 edge rushers. They've got cornerback problems, edge rusher problems, running back problems. They're an absolute mess.
Cap, let's keep it in the NFC East. We brought up Daniel Jones on the desk as well. No touchdowns over the last 6 games at home. I mean, this offense is still inconsistent. They say they're going to play him until they're out of playoff contention, which most likely will be this week or next week. Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
Well, ownership, Joe, and it gave the dreaded vote of confidence a few weeks ago. The owner, one of the owners, John Mara, did. So, look, when you look at the situation, they've got to get the quarterback situation right. They extended his contract. Mara and Jones are very close. Remember, Mara has a lot of say, though. They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have it. Drew Lock's not the answer. It's an absolute mess. Washington comes in, and you look at the Washington situation. Talk about stability, Joe. My goodness, Jaden Daniels, already one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League.
That's Adam Caplan, our resident NFL insider right here on the SportsGrid Network. Adam, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
Guys, you got it. Thank you.
There we go. Just got some good information there, Joe Lisi. We're roughly, 50 minutes from kickoff right now. We got a lot more hot topics to hit. We also got to get some updates on injuries. Here's some surprise injuries today on the docket. That's great because we have Dr. David Chao coming up next right here on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid Network.
He will be 2-7 against top 5 opponents in his 6 full seasons with the Buckeyes. Now you're going to take on the road, one of the best rush defenses in the country in Penn State. You're already having trouble rushing the ball. So what does that mean, Ben? That means Ohio State is going to have to rely on Will Howard to throw the ball on the road.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Right back out of here on Pro Football Today. It's Joe Lisi, it's Donnie Rightside here, and we need some help. We need some information, so we bring in the doc, Dr. David Chao, to help us out on Sunday to get us ready for the games today. Doc, how's it going today? And by the way, SixScore.com on fire this year.
Yeah, we've been pretty good with, using injuries to advantages, and thanks to the guys in the room, and we're gearing up for another good Sunday.
Let's get after it, Doc. Let's have some fun because we have a couple notable games we want to get to, which includes the AFC East. That's the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. If I'm looking right here on SixScore.com, getting the field view, Doc, looks like linebackers damage, defensive ends damage. What can we expect out of that Miami defense today?
Well, the only good news for Miami is the damage that's there that you see on the field view is more historical. They've been there for a good part of the season. And so we look at in the middle of the season, if you go to SixScore.com, we look at deltas trending, let's say an unhealthy team that's trending healthier, getting guys back, or, the injuries on Miami are a little bit stale. Obviously, they're a two-win team right now, but now they have Tua back. I know they lost last week, so it should be a little bit of a shootout on both sides of the ball for us in that game.
Yeah, Doc, looks like we should get some pretty good weather out in Buffalo. Let me ask you this question, though. You bring over Amari Cooper to try to help out that wide receiving core. Looks like he's down today. What can we anticipate from Amari Cooper moving forward?
Well, it's a wrist injury. It doesn't seem significant, but obviously significant enough that he misses this week. Part of this miss is that he still doesn't have the whole playbook. So we don't see him out long term. And, Buffalo got him for a playoff push, but obviously not right now. I think he would have been a non-factor even if he played right now, just in terms of the playbook. And with the wrist, he's actually down.
Doc, another divisional matchup. New Orleans on the road to face off against Carolina. Derek Carr is back in that lineup. The Six Score has New Orleans as an 83 number, and you have a bunch of people out on the defensive side of the ball. Carolina checks in at 74. Do you expect Derek Carr to be at full capacity today?
Derek Carr, look, when he first got hurt with the oblique muscle, people said 4 to 6 weeks. We said that's too long. He's going to be back before. This is actually the third week, and he's back. His health is fine, but even he doesn't have full confidence. He was talking about how he's not a savior, but he, of course, is playing today. But rust is the biggest issue on Derek Carr there, not his health.
And when I look at the offensive line for Carolina, center is banged up, and then also left tackle. How should that, are they banged up to the fact that it's going to be a lot of pressure on Bryce Young in the rushing attack?
Yeah, there will be. And we said it last week that Bryce Young starting with Andy Dalton's thumb injury from the car accident was hiding behind health. We did not believe that thumb injury on Andy Dalton was significant. And sure enough, this week, he's off the injury report, listed as fully healthy, yet Bryce Young is still the starter. This is like pre-trade deadline stuff. Can Carolina get anything for Bryce Young? But he should be under pressure all day today, and Carolina's defense was banged up as well.
Atlanta Falcons looking to surge here in the NFC South with a possible chance to win that division and take advantage of some other teams' injuries, which could include the Dallas Cowboys today. We know, Doc, they're banged up at outside linebacker trying to rush the quarterback, but also some problems with the cornerback position. What can we anticipate? Trayvon Diggs, I know, had an issue with a calf injury. Also looking to Bland possibly coming back sooner than later. What are we looking at from that Dallas Cowboys defense today?
Well, you got it exactly right there. And Atlanta on the offensive side of the ball gets a lot healthier. They get their center back off of IR. And, Kirk Cousins with time and perhaps without a big pass rush with a healthy offensive line, that looks like a lot of scoring for Atlanta there from our point of view. And you're right about the Cowboys defense. They've been down all year. Top 3 edge rushers out still. And cornerback, their number one corner, Deron Bland, was activated off of IR because he hit his 21-day window. But he's not ready to go yet with that foot stress fracture. And that may be many more weeks to come. And Diggs all season, we sort of lowered him. We said he was not going to have a great year at corner coming off of his off-season injury. Now he has a calf issue. So no question that the advantage goes to Atlanta there.
Doc, if we're looking from the offensive side of the ball here for the Cowboys, I take a look at Brandon Cooks. Had that knee injury, got the surgery, it's infected. Is he coming back this season, or do we have a timeline on him?
He should come back this season, but when is the question? And look, there's obviously some turmoil in Dallas. I mean, favorite son Ezekiel Elliott, whatever that situation is, has gone sideways.
Doc, I want to bring up the Jordan Love situation in Green Bay. We know he suffered a groin injury. He missed part of that game last week against Jacksonville. He'll be playing today, but it's a wet field. And with the groin injury, if it's not 100%, there's always the opportunity to maybe re-injure that. From just a sports staff type of perspective, would they put Jordan Love out there if he wasn't 100% in terms of that situation, especially on a wet field?
Well, you guys are on fire today. You're stealing all my lines in terms of what's happening. You're right. The wet field is an issue for a groin muscle. He'll be in shotgun. He will be less mobile, the whole deal. He hurt it in the first quarter. It got worse in the third quarter last week, and he left the game. I promise you this, if this weren't the Detroit Lions, if this weren't a divisional matchup, if next week wasn't a bye, there's no way Jordan Love would be playing. They pushed him to play because he wants to play, because this is a battle for first place in the division. But he is not 100%. And you're right. If you're on Green Bay, you got to worry that one play and he could be out, and then you have to turn to Malik Willis. So that's a cautionary tale there if you're backing Green Bay.
Doc, let me ask you this question, too. When you're working out players before the game, like a game-time decision, Brian Robinson worked out here for Washington. He's down with that hamstring injury. So my question to you would be, what are you actually running him through, and whose knowledge are you leaning on at that point? Is it the coach, the general manager, the player, or a combination?
It's usually the player and the athletic training and or medical staff, along with his position coach. But let me tell you, in my 17 years in the NFL, we never had a true game time decision. We had game time confirmations. Oh, we don't think this guy's going to go, but let's just check and make sure. We think this guy's going to go. Let's just check to make sure. All this game time decision stuff is, to me, always gamesmanship. Teams basically know ahead of time.
How about gamesmanship like this here, Doc? Head over to SixScore.com and get in the know. Who's in, who's out, who's coming back, and what information do you need before these games start? Doc does it all. Doc, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah,
Doc
great.
setting us up.
Great information. Yeah. Six Score, and put in promo code SportsGrid, right? Promo code.
Load up. Let's go. Great. New age of information. Use it all to your advantage. We'll be right back on Pro Football Today.
will be 2-7 against top 5 opponents in his 6 full seasons with the Buckeyes. Now you're going to take on the road, one of the best rush defenses in the country in Penn State. You're already having trouble rushing the ball. So what does that mean, Ben? That means Ohio State is going to have to rely on Will Howard to throw the ball on the road.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Here, Pro Football Today, Donnie Rightside and Joe Lisi. Before we get to another segment that we have with Sell Me Something, which we love to go over, just wanted to piggyback here off of what Doc was talking about and sort of how we can equate it to the rest of the regular season. You take a look at the Green Bay Packers, Joe, and it's Jordan Love. That's your now, that's your future. And we say, you know what, groin injury, he should be able to make it through. The worst place to put a guy with a groin injury is on a slick surface, Joe. Green Bay, slick surface coming today.
Yeah, I still like Green Bay with the points, 2.5, but that's why I lean to Josh Jacobs and the rushing attack. He did get a $127 last week. I think they utilize him, sustain drives, get this game low scoring. Again, hotter quarterback is Jared Goff, even though it's a wet track. You don't want him on the side. You don't want him, throwing over the top of your defense. I do think this game trends to the under. We've seen the 3-point discount already due to the weather, but I still think the offensive philosophy is run the football. Jordan Love gets hurt in this game. We just talked about it. You know, your whole season is thrown away. 6-3 isn't bad. I know 7-2 is great, and you have the inside track to beat Detroit, and you're number one in the division, but you cannot afford to lose them the rest of the way.
If you can't protect yourself in the pocket, you can't play football. Maybe they think he's healthy enough to protect himself, but again, you have one little slip there, that groin goes down 3-4 weeks, you're ruining that entire season. Now, let's have some fun, Joe. Sell Me Something segment. Now, this is great, because Kevin's not here. We're going to bring up his picks in just a few moments. But they seem to be aligned, Joe Lisi, with you. So I'm going to start with Joe. Sell me something today that I need to know.
Well, I know Bryce Young has not been good this year, but he did throw for 227 yards last week in garbage time, did throw for 3 touchdowns. I'm not going yardage on Bryce Young today, Donnie. Not 1. Not 2, but how about 3 touchdown passes? 14-1.
Not 14,000 to 1? My goodness.
14-1 with Bryce Young. I believe this game could be high scoring. Both offenses have nothing to lose, opening it up. You still want to make an assessment on Bryce Young if you're Dave Canales. Do you want to keep Bryce Young, or do you want to move on and have a different face of the franchise? Open it up. I mean, if you could maybe channel what he had in the fourth quarter, maybe you can win some ball games down the stretch. 43.5 is the total. 3 touchdowns at 14-1. I'll take a shot.
I think what we like about that, too, Joe, is that the 3 touchdowns, yes, it will be tough. You figure they're probably going to be losing, and maybe if you can get one early, you can sort of piggyback off that. But the one thing I think we can agree on, He doesn't have a short leash now with Andy Dalton being somewhat banged up. Like, kid, this is your game the same way it was last week, so things certainly could work out. Now, I don't know if it was just the stars were aligning. We'll get to Kevin's just a little bit. Let's keep it in the same game. Same game. You know, sell me something here. Taysom Hill, anytime touchdown, plus 187. If I'm looking at Alvin Kamara, do I think he scores a touchdown? Yes, I do. Derek Carr is coming back against a team you should absolutely feast on. And can he throw touchdown passes? Absolutely. But we get inside the 10-yard line. Taysom Hill is coming in. Taysom Hill will score today, and I'm getting almost a 2-to-1 price. I love me some Taysom Hill.
He was underutilized last week. I'll tell you that. I watched that game play out. They got inside the red zone, never utilized Taysom Hill. They went to secondary and tertiary wide receivers. And you talk about, we just had Doc on saying how banged up the Carolina front seven is heading into this matchup, especially in run support. Taysom Hill at almost 2-1. Great value, baby. Let's get points in that. I might change. I like points in that game.
Now, here we go on this, too, because how do you usually want to play this out? We saw last week, the Denver Broncos pick apart Carolina, but actually Carolina had the 7-0 lead in that game, and then it completely fell down, get a couple passing yards late. What do you want the game script to be if you need, let's just say, Bryce Young to throw 3 touchdowns? Is it get behind and we're just throwing the entire way, or is it let me just get an honest game plan where we're running the football and can play action pass?
No. I want a shootout. I want Derek Carr to push tempo, and that would help you with Taysom Hill. He doesn't have to run it. He can receive it in the.
True.
He's a tight end.
You think about that.
He's a tight end. They like him as a tight end, so throw him in there.
Anytime touchdown.
They never list a receiving price for Taysom Hill.
Now, look, we
versatile.
Yeah, by the way, we don't coordinate everything on these, and sometimes we wait till segments that actually come up and say, who does this guy actually have? What a little Kevin Walsh action here. And no, Bryce Young.
No, yards?
275-plus yards at a 12-1 price. So let me understand this, people. If you're watching the shows, you see the graphic put up there. It's beautiful. It's Bryce looking like a clean uniform. If he throws for 275 and 3 touchdowns, you are officially retired because you can live off that money the rest of your life.
I might have to put that in. I might have to put that in a parlay now.
Oh my goodness!
275 and 3 touchdowns, and alt the total into the 50s.
That is an unbelievable
That's a real
price
play.
Point. That is a price point here because I guess it will be sort of correlated. But my goodness, if we're expecting, what's the number, Joe? 55.5 in this game? 60 total points? Is what we're going on?
It's 43.5, and we saw Justin Herbert move in the second half with Ladd McConkey over that same secondary. West Coast trip, right? Now they have to come back to Carolina. They might be checked out defensively.
Just got a text from Kevin. He's on his way back right now to try to help us out. He thinks we're struggling. We're not struggling. We're only getting started here. Whip rounds coming up. More information right here on Pro Football Today. It's a Sunday morning/afternoon. It's Joe Lisi and Donnie Rightside here, and we got you covered.
He will be 2-7 against top 5 opponents in his 6 full seasons with the Buckeyes. Now you're going to take on the road, one of the best rush defenses in the country in Penn State. You're already having trouble rushing the ball. So what does that mean, Ben? That means Ohio State is going to have to rely on Will Howard to throw the ball on the road.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today, right back at it. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Lisi. It's a time that we love in this show. We are setting up the kickoff, about a half hour to go. Let's start the recap, Joe. What we like, what we dislike, and go game by game to see what works out. The New England Patriots and the Tennessee Titans currently listed right now at a minus 3.5-point spread towards the home team, the Titans. The total of this game, 38.5. These two teams, Joe, might be fighting for the bottom to select another quarterback or trade the top picks in order to get more ammunition for next year. But you see this number, the Titans are favored here.
Yeah, I can't believe that, but I'm going to go with Tennessee at home. We're seeing 3.5s creep in to the market. We saw Mason Rudolph attack that Detroit defense. He threw for over 200 yards. Calvin Ridley, what a huge performance. I think Tennessee is the right side. Tony Pollard back in. You saw the Patriots have that emotional win. Now they have to get on the road. They might be a little checked out. Tennessee in the under, Donnie, but I do like Ridley to blow through his number today.
Expectations for you, Joe, for Drake May. What are they today?
I mean, he should be able to throw for over 225 yards in this ballgame. He should be able to run for another 30 and do exactly what Jacoby Brissett did and try and pull out a victory. I just don't think he could do it. He's got a 194.5 number today. He might get through that, but I have more confidence in Mason Rudolph blowing through 196 than I do Drake May today.
Oh, thank goodness we got that game out of the way. I think the people are probably changing the channel. Let's get to some more pertinent information, which includes the Saints and the Panthers. Now, two teams you might not think going anywhere, but my goodness, if you watch the show today, we might have some juice. You line up the price here, minus 7.5 on the road team, the New Orleans Saints. The total listed at 42.5. You take a look at the Panthers saying, you know what, Dave Canales, get your quarterback in gear. Maybe he found something last week late, put up a couple touchdowns. Could they do the same today? New Orleans on the road. How about it?
It's a divisional game. I'm inclined to take the home dog with the 7.5. It's not a testament in terms of Bryce Young or Dave Canales. It's just that I don't believe in New Orleans on the road. I talked about the West Coast trip. They get beat up by L.A. That was a very physical game. Now they have to go on the road, back-to-back road games. Not sold in terms of the defensive front. They couldn't shut down the run a couple weeks ago, and certainly the secondary got abused by Justin Herbert. I believe that Bryce Young will have success. I'll take those points, but I think we go through the total today, Donnie. 43.5. Week one was a party over, if you don't remember. Turnovers, passing, it had it all. We blow through it again.
By the way, two bottom defenses. You just need some decent play at the quarterback position, which, again, has been questionable sometimes when looking at both of these guys. But, Joe, let me ask you a question. Coker, Leggett, Sanders, 39.5, 34.5, and 24.5, respectively, is those wide receiver props. If we're looking for Bryce to even throw 200 yards, some of these guys got to get through their numbers.
I have to go to Leggett. He dropped, I don't know if you watched the game against Denver, wide open in the sun, drops about a 40, 45-yarder. I'll take a shot on the rookie to bounce back in a big way. And let's not forget South Carolina with a big win over A&M last night.
He's going to be fired up.
Fired up and channeling Williams-Bryce today in Carolina.
Maybe a little sandstorm before the game in the ears. Nice. You never know at that point. But, yes, in that game, Taysom Hill for me, anytime touchdown plus 187. It's funny because I'm so thought of Taysom Hill as coming into the red zone as the quarterback per se. But then again, he can catch a touchdown pass today. So line him up here today on my guy Taysom. Let's keep it moving forward here in Baltimore, Joe. The Denver Broncos going to take on the Baltimore Ravens, close to double digits as a favorite. Minus 9.5 and a total of 46.5. Denver looks really good, but this is an angry spot for the Ravens.
Yeah, I think Denver is up against it today. I know they've played well on the road, but they haven't faced an offense coming off a loss to Cleveland as a 9.5-point road favorite. Like the Baltimore Ravens, this is an opportunity to really make a statement playing at home. They've been pushed by teams like Washington and like Las Vegas where they played down to the level of competition. With a rookie quarterback at home, I think they make a statement. The one bet I do like in the game, I do like Baltimore laying the 9.5. I do believe they shut down Bo Nix. I trend to the under. But Lamar Jackson, anytime touchdown, plus 190. And look for the rushing attack to take over. Derrick Henry does get over 100 today.
And also Mark Andrews getting healthier by the week as well. Could be one of those plays here. Let me ask you a quick question on the Denver Broncos, though, Joe. Denver pulls this game out. Do we change our notion on Denver as like it's just a rookie quarterback, it was a guess here too? We're winning legitimate football games, and maybe we can challenge in the AFC.
Yes, I would need to see Bo Nix throw for over 200. He can't run for 80 yards on the ground, throw for 115 yards or 160 the way he did against New Orleans a couple of weeks ago and expect to win big picture and make a run for the playoffs. They might get to the playoffs playing that way, but they're going to top out. I need to see Bo Nix throw for 250. If Jameis, a backup quarterback, could throw for 337, Nix should have success on the road, but I think this is a very difficult spot coming off the outright loss to Cleveland.
You might look at that offense now, making a move for a wide receiver. All we need right now on offense, Joe. But if they do, look, I'm not saying struggle in this game, win this game. You know Tuesday's a chance to fortify your team. We getting any defensive help for the Baltimore Ravens next week?
Are we?
Yeah.
Like an edge
Make a
rusher
move?
or
Yeah,
a
like who we
secondary guy? I mean, they would need to get somebody. You make a move at Clowney? Do you want him back?
Yeah,
I know.
Look, they need something extra. And if it helps, like if they win 41-10 today, maybe we're fine and good. But sometimes, as Kevin pointed out, we're talking about like some people losing games before that. But we're good to go, or maybe we don't need help. Let's see if the Baltimore Ravens step up once again. As we said, added a wide receiver. That should certainly help. Also, how about this? The Cincinnati Bengals saying, we're making phone calls still in the season to acquire players when they never make any trades. The Raiders come to town, a 7.5-point favorite. The home team for the Bengals, a total of 44.5. Burton, a surprise inactive, which elevates Yoshi-Vash in his position. You know I love Gesicki in this game. I actually think these two quarterbacks are going to get after it today,
I'll root it in for you. I know you like the over. I don't see it. I do like Las Vegas with the points. They've been a covering machine in back-to-back weeks against the Rams and KC last week. An emotional loss at home to a rivalry game, an AFC West opponent. I don't know what you're going to get offensively, but I think they'll be in the number. Can't buy into Cincinnati. 0-4 at home without T. Higgins. I did buy into you. Gesicki over 34.5 receiving. Maybe he hits pay dirt. And again, secondary checkdowns. Maybe Chase Brown and those running backs do catch the ball out of the backfield, but can't buy into big picture, the total, and can't buy into Cincinnati laying a huge number.
I love a quarterback prop in this game. We're going to go over a little bit later in the show. But talk to me about this, Joe. Chase Brown, friend of the show, friend of the network. Joe and I interviewed him out at the Super Bowl. Zach Moss is not there today. You're going up against a defense that can be had. Give me some looks at Chase Brown today.
Should we alt it up to 80, 90 plus?
100.
I mean,
winning the game, Joe, salting it away in the fourth quarter.
KC did have success last week on the Raiders. They could be a beaten-up football team going on the road. Again, I think they'll be game with Gardner Minshew, always a covering machine, especially over the last couple of weeks. But again, you're going to get their best effort offensively. Maybe Chase Brown in the rushing attack on the ground. That's the best friend right now. Cincinnati's defense has been too inconsistent. They gave up 37 points. You can't do that to Las Vegas today. You're not going to cover and certainly not going to win. So maybe run the football a little more balanced today with Chase Brown.
A couple players to take a look at, Joe, on that Las Vegas side of things is Brock Bowers, plus 230, anytime touchdown today. He's been an absolute menace so far as a rookie, and we expected that coming in. He was tremendous in college, and also getting looks at Jacoby Myers, who's said to be even on the trading block, maybe a showcase game today.
Yeah, I did alt him up to 60-plus at plus money. We'll see if he could hit pay dirt as well. But Brock Bowers, number one draft pick for this team right now, is that Travis Kelce type of player. He's starting to come into his own, especially red zone opportunities. We saw Eagles exploit with the tight end as well late in that matchup last week. Look for Brock Bowers to eat in this game.
Two bad defenses. See if we can get some points here, which includes Joe Burrow multiple times in pay dirt. Absolutely.
Nice.
We'll keep moving down here in the AFC. The Chargers on the road to take on the Cleveland Browns. Maybe one of the upsets of the year. Jameis Winston led that dead football team to a victory outright over Baltimore, their divisional rival, Joe. Today, they're getting points at home, plus 1.5. The total in this game, 42.5. Famous Jameis.
Yes, 337. I don't know if he gets 337, but I think he can get through his number today, 250 plus. From the spread perspective, I'll take the points with the slight home dog in Cleveland, playing a little bit well at home, stepped up last week. But here's the thing. Justin Herbert, a couple of weeks ago, 349 through the air. He backed it up again in the second half, 250 plus. Josh Palmer had a very light number. Johnston's back in that offense. I went over both of those players. But, Donnie, how do we not get points here?
Play action pass.
I know you think Harbaugh is going to run it.
Pass.
Party over, 50 plus. I think this is the highest scoring game of the day.
Now, if we take a look at this game, too, Joe, let's just say Jameis Winston wins this football game. Does he run for mayor of Cleveland? I mean, what does he do?
Are they a contender for a wild card is the bigger question.
The new and also Kevin Stefanski, does he get fired? Because apparently Ken Dorsey is the absolute man calling plays there. It's the whip around, people. It's Pro Football Today. We're getting ready for kickoff here. It's Joe and Donnie. We'll be right back after this short break.
will be 2-7 against top 5 opponents in his 6 full seasons with the Buckeyes. Now you're going to take on the road one of the best rush defenses in the country in Penn State. You're already having trouble rushing the ball. So what does that mean, Ben? That means Ohio State is going to have to rely on Will Howard to throw the ball on the road.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Closer to kickoff pro football today. He's Joe Lisi. I'm Donnie Rightside. As we move down the list today, the AFC East center stage, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Not even a touchdown favorite here. -5.5 and a total listed at 48.5. Are we expecting points? And what can we get out of the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, your defense needs to step up. I don't trust them against James Cook coming off a 111-yard performance all year long. They've been atrocious against the run. Tony Pollard, you look at Jacksonville, ETN, you name it, you could run on the front seven. Give me Buffalo. I think they cover this number. I'll lean to the under because I don't know what you're going to get out of Miami in this spot. Josh Allen owns the Miami Dolphins, and I like Kincaid over the 60 plus today.
All that talent needing a game, basically a season-saving victory on the road against Buffalo to be tough for me. Give me the quarterback. Give me Josh Allen over 1.5 touchdown passes in this game. The Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. Again, a show-me game for the Dallas Cowboys. They're actually going to show up to the season. And also the Atlanta Falcons, maybe in the driver's seat, Joe, to win the NFC South. -3 is a short favorite for the Atlanta Falcons, and a total 51.5.
Yeah, your best friend in terms of a road team is to run the football with Rico Dowdle, keep the better quarterback in the offense. Kirk Cousins on the sidelines. Like Dowdle over 44.5, altered them to 60 plus. But I do feel this is a bounce back spot for Dallas. I know defensively they haven't shown it, but typically a better road team. Dallas wins outright. I'll take the 3, and I'll take the money line at 148, Donnie.
Like me some Rico Dowdle in that game. Love me some Bijan Robinson. We'll see how it plays out. And also, those calls for the Dallas Cowboys to fire their owner, their coach, their general manager, and their quarterback would be crazy next week. The Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. MetLife Stadium today. A 4.5-point favorite for the road team. That's the Commanders, Joe. And a total of 44.5. We got news that Daniel Jones will not be benched until they're out of playoff contention. Seems like that's coming around the corner.
Yeah, this is the game with the no kicker for the Giants. Remember, it went toe-to-toe. They moved the football between the 30s and had to settle for field goals, Washington. Not this time. I'm laying the 4.5. I have no confidence in Danny Dimes. No touchdowns last 6 home games. They're a dead under team at home and have lost 4 straight. The total is shocking, though, at 44.5. I might, if this game gets into the high 30s first quarter, I'll jump on the over, but it's Commanders or bust for me.
Austin Eckler looking to step in that starting running back spot today for those Washington Commanders. Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. Slight spread here, -1.5 towards the home team. That's the Arizona Cardinals in a total of 44.5. You saw last week the Bears lose in devastating fashion, and a great win for the Cardinals on the road last week, Joe.
Yeah, I like the way they're playing right now. We saw Kyler Murray, 307. James Conner with 52 yards on the ground. Marvin Harrison emerged with a big touchdown reception. I just like the way they're playing. Chicago on the road hasn't won a true road game up until this point. Give me Arizona. But, Donnie, this total, 44.5, I think could be live at 4 o'clock.
Look, I like the offense of Chicago. I think they're going to put up some statistics today against Arizona. Arizona will battle you here. The Jaguars and the Philadelphia Eagles, 4:05 p.m. Lincoln Financial Field. 46.5 is the total, and the Eagles favored by over a touchdown, listed at 7.5. Two teams going in opposite directions, Joe.
Yeah, they are, and they're banged up, Jacksonville, in terms of Christian Kirk, Thomas, their big play wide receiver at camp back, Trevor Lawrence on the road in terms of this spot. Eagles defense bouncing back into form. I think they should dominate this game. Even though Doug Peterson's coming home, I do like a lot of points. Devontae Smith over his receiving total, and Saquon over the 14.5 receiving, not rushing for me.
I got Hurts for an anytime touchdown and Saquon. I just don't see much of a fight here coming from Jacksonville. If they do, you're going to have to get a pretty good performance at a tank in the backfield. We'll see if that holds up. Rams and Seahawks. Let's go back out to the West Coast. -1.5. How about this? The road team favored, the Los Angeles Rams, and a total of 48.5. We are in a jumbled NFC West. This could be a massive game in the standings.
I could only lean L.A. right now. I think they're playing with offensive continuity, even with Puka a little bit banged up. Kyron with 87 yards on the ground. I think they run it just the way James Cook and that Buffalo offense did. Breakout for Kyron, and here's the fact. Seattle cannot run the football unless Kenneth Walker breaks out. Going to be a long day. Give me the Rams and the under in this ballgame.
Now, we've heard a lot, Joe, about the Rams and what they're going to do up against the trade deadline. Is Kupp up for sale? Puka Nacua, obviously, we don't think he's going anywhere. There's even rumors that Matthew Stafford was on the move. If they lose this game, any thoughts to opening back up those trade options, or you just ride this out saying, we're so close in this division?
It depends on what plays out today with Arizona if they lose, and obviously with some of the other teams. But I still believe you're bought in. Unless you have 6 or 7 losses, it's a different story. You lost games in 3 one-score games early on, Donnie. You got to buy in when you're healthy. So I think they don't move Kupp. Don't move anyone.
Let's go John Facenda style, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Won't be frozen today, but boy, it is going to be slippery. As high as 30-mile-an-hour gusty winds today. You're taking a look at rain all throughout that game. Slippery surface, a quarterback in Jordan Love battling a groin injury, setting the table for this one. Favorites, not even the Green Bay Packers at home. It's the Detroit Lions, -2.5 points in a total of 47.5. Do the rainy, windy conditions settle you into this game for an over-under look?
It's an under look for me. 47.5. I liked it even without the conditions. I thought that Green Bay would attack utilizing Josh Jacobs. You have a team in Detroit that's won 5 straight. Green Bay has won 4 straight by 7.7 points per game. Defense has been opportunistic. Josh Jacobs, a huge part of this offense today. 66.5. I think he blows through that, and -120 to hit pay dirt.
This is an unbelievable division. You take a look at some of these games. That seismic shift in odds could happen from this game because we talked about it. The Lions currently in first place. They win. They cement their status as the best team in this division and certainly the top dog in the NFC. But, Joe, if we get a flip from the Green Bay Packers where they pull this game out and Jordan Love comes out of this game no worse for the wear, what's the expectations on the Packers through the rest of the way?
Well, that's 7-1 number for an NFC championship, Donnie. I think we talk about the top 3 teams in the NFC. We talk about them at length, right? Detroit, Green Bay, and the Eagles, right? I think those are the top teams right now. If Green Bay can win this game and they shut down that high-powered offense, even though it's a wet track, you contain the rushing attack of Gibbs and Montgomery today. That's a huge asset to carry throughout the regular season. Defense is starting to come into form, and they forcing turnovers. I like Green Bay, and LaFleur, one of the most underrated coaches, does not get enough credit for what he's done with Love and, more importantly, Malik Willis in a backup role.
He's been spectacular. And, Joe, what do you think about this, though? The Detroit Lions' first game outdoors is going to be rainy and windy, but also the rest of the way, I believe they have one more outdoor game, which I want to say could be in Chicago. But if they get home field advantage, that goes right through the dome in Detroit. As we pointed out, New Orleans, it's a dome, Joe.
Yeah, fast track. And this team is built for fast track, speed on the perimeter, especially when Jameson Williams comes back into that lineup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's such a great game. I hope the weather isn't too bad. Everybody stays healthy because for me, I got double shotguns in that backfield for the Detroit Lions. Would love to see a couple touchdowns there. Sunday night football we're going to get to next, Colts and Vikings. But you know what else we're going to do? Best bets as we get ready for kickoff. It's Joe, it's Donnie here. One more second to go before we get you ready for kickoff right here on Pro Football Today.
He will be 2-7 against top 5 opponents in his 6 full seasons with the Buckeyes. Now you're going to take on the road one of the best rush defenses in the country in Penn State. You're already having trouble rushing the ball. So what does that mean, Ben? That means Ohio State is going to have to rely on Will Howard to throw the ball on the road.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Kickoff moments away right now, Pro Football Today. We love this segment because we take a look at the Sunday Night Football game, some best bets, and send you off into those games and the rest of your sports grid day, Joe. Sunday Night Football, pretty good game coming up tonight. The Minnesota Vikings, the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of intrigue from the Colts' perspective. Why? New quarterback. Could it be Joe Flacco? We talked to Adam Caplan. He says, you know what? I think this might be a permanent thing for this year and next year, Joe.
It would be interesting to see how that situation plays out. What old man Joe Flacco, all he does is chuck, baby. Over 300 yards the last time he started against Jacksonville. They lost that game by 3 points. But I think they're live today in this matchup, Donnie. 5.5 on the road. Remember, this is the rematch of 2 years ago where they had the 33-0 first and second half lead, and they blew it. Biggest comeback in NFL history for Kirk Cousins and the crew. I just do not like this defense right now for Minnesota. Back-to-back 30 points allowed by both of those teams, Detroit and last week against L.A. Not the same dominant defense that we've seen. Colts are playing a little bit better defensively as well. Give me the points with old man Flacco.
Wide receivers healthy for Indy. Running back, one of the best in football, now healthy. Joe Flacco involved in that offense. Shane Steichen maybe cooking today. I'm going to take the 5.5 points. And you see that total, 46.5. It seems about right, though, in my mind, doesn't it? Like, how do you feel on that total?
Well, I mean, the Vikings could put up points. They trended to the over against the Rams as well. And we know that early on, the Colts defense was atrocious, right? So they were trending to the over. I will say the Colts have gotten better in the last 3 games. They've held opponents under 24 points in each of those games, dominant in terms of run support as well. So we'll see how it plays out.
Got a little extra bit of room up here, Joe, on the big time. I mean, we could do some calisthenics right now. We can get loose up here.
Hang on.
Get loose, because why, people? The best bets are coming up right now. And I'm going to start with you, Joe Lisi. I know you're digging into a total. No surprise here. Where do we go on Sunday?
Now, I was going to go to the 4 o'clock total. I did have Jacksonville and the Philadelphia Eagles 45.5, but I got yelled at. Okay? I was almost, you might not have seen Joe Lisi in terms of week number 10 and 11. If I gave out the Eagles' best bet, we're going to go into Cleveland with famous Jameis Winston, 337 last week, 3 touchdowns. I told you about how Justin Herbert over the past couple of weeks has come on in the passing attack. 349 2 weeks ago, 250. Josh Palmer's eating, Ladd McConkey and Johnston back in that lineup. That secondary for Cleveland got abused as well. Give me party over 42, 48, 50. Over.
Alt City there for me. For me, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to say which defense is bad, which team can't cover anybody. And, last week, and I picked on him as well. Do you know what I had last week? Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 touchdown passes. Cha-ching. Why? Because it was against the Las Vegas Raiders. Today, welcome Joe Burrow into my neighborhood here. Over 1.5 touchdown passes. Little juicy at -145. Last week, I was digging on like a -110. 115 with Patrick Mahomes. Jamar Chase, love him as well today. Gesicki, love him today. Yoshi Vash, Joe, what are you thinking, man? Come on,
you got
two
me
teeters.
Yoshi Vash, the Princeton grad. I'll take a shot on him, but you got me in on Gesicki. The question is, I couldn't get an alt on Gesicki.
It's like 6'10". It's like 6'10".
34 and a half. I would have altered him to 50 or 60 plus. Anytime touchdown could be live for Gesicki.
There you go. And how about Kevin Walsh here on his way to a Philadelphia Eagles-Jacksonville Jaguars game? His best bet, Saquon the Don. Can we get a graphic up here so I can get the people? There it is. Look at that. 103.5 rushing and receiving. Joe, he might go over that on the ground.
Wow, he likes that number today. I like his receiving, but he did rush for over 100 against Cincinnati last week. Atrocious that front seven for Jacksonville. Green Bay abused them on the ground as well. So big day for Saquon and hopefully a huge Eagle win. So K-Dubs is happy.
Touchdown starters today. Joe, I'm going to start with you first. Who's your best look to get into pay dirt today?
How about Lamar Jackson taking this game over? Plus 190, Donnie. And Lamar at plus 190, that's a pretty good number. I think they dominate from start to finish. I know that Denver's got a very good defense, but this is a Lamar Jackson game plus 190.
Little read option on the goal line. Keep it yourself. Don't give it to the king here. For me, it's Jamar Chase doubling down. If I think Joe Burrow's going to throw 2 touchdowns, Jamar Chase has to be involved.
Yes.
Minus 115 price, I'll go there. And also, look at this, Kevin. And he's tripling down. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown, minus 175. He's almost guaranteeing it here, Joe.
Well, can we get multiple touchdowns? How about that? 1, 2, and 3, and we got the over 46.5 that now we're starting to see trickle into that matchup. Everybody will be happy.
What about in the back? Do we have any the producers? Did we get one today?
Producers, what do we have?
Sizzle play? Sizzle play on Dawson Knox. Joe.
Ooh, Dawson.
Is that going against you? Like
that's
Kincaid?
going against me.
Look
I need
that.
No touchdown.
Wow.
I need yards from Kincaid. So Knox can eat in terms of that matchup.
Well, I want to ask the people out there, how do you think they did on our trial? Can we still come back on Pro Football Today next weekend? Is it a solo show next week? Just me, maybe? Hour number 3? What do you think about that?
I doubt that, but no. Well, no,
we're going to get after it today. Best bets are in. We covered the entire board. Guest, everybody brought the great information, and we are ready, Joe, for kickoff at 1 p.m. Make sure you keep the dial right here on the SportsGrid Network for Pro Football Today. For Kevin Walsh, for Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi, we'll see you again.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game where it was the worst players we've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take the Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.